people of Reddit who have been cheated on. How did you find out?
Her roommates called and asked me to meet them for lunch, said it was important. I met them and they told me she had been cheating on me with her ex the entire time I was deployed. They showed me pictures, back when you had to get pictures developed. They said I was a good man and I didn't deserve to be treated like that. They had collected my things that morning when she left for work and gave them to me. I drove to her work, walked up to her, showed her the pictures and demanded the ring back. She gave it to me and I left. Later she called me yelling about me, conspiring with her roommates, basically trying to make it my fault. She asked what I was doing meeting with them. I said, it's called respect and closure and it sounds like this. I unplugged the phone, landline, waited an hour, plugged in the phone and called the phone company, said I needed to change my number and never heard from her again. I took it really rough and am thankful for her roommates and the friends that got me through probably the darkest time of my life.
I had suspicions for a long time that my ex-husband was cheating, and the red flags looking back are clear as day, but at the time it always got twisted around that I was just a paranoid crazy person. Then at work one night, my phone rings, and I didn't answer because I didn't recognize the number. Immediately after, my husband calls and sounds super freaked out and says, "You're about to get a phone call, don't answer it. It's all lies." WTF? What are you talking about? Melissa's boyfriend is drunk and thinks we've been sleeping together and he's going scorched earth trying to ruin us because he made this up in his head. So I call the number that just called me, he is not drunk, and found the texts and pictures on her phone and offered to send me the screenshots. I didn't want to see, but I believed him, thanked him, called my husband back and told him he better not be at home when I get home in the morning.
We were at a party together with a bunch of close friends. She said she wasn't feeling that well, and my buddy was leaving early because he had to work in the morning, so he could take her home. Fair enough. We're all friends. We help each other out. I had a weird feeling in my gut, so when I left the party, I made a quick stop at my girlfriend's place. As I entered the cul-de-sac, I saw my buddy's car parked in front of her house with lights off. So I turned my car's lights off and slowly crept over. Then I was about 20 feet away, so I zoomed over and stopped right in front of his car. And I blasted on the high beam lights as I did this. At that moment, I saw them pull away from a kiss. I pulled up to the side of his car, and we both rolled down our windows, and I just asked how things are going. They didn't look me in the eyes. Then I just drove home. That was it for our relationship.
Showed up to the police station to bail him out. I had no idea why he'd been arrested, but assumed it was drinking and driving again. He was a wicked alcoholic, and I was naive and painfully codependent, was signing forms to pay a bail bondsman. I was naive and didn't realize that a $50,000 bail, which ended up being about a $3,000 bond, cash was not what one would have for a DUI. Behind me, I heard the bondsman talking to a woman. He asked her how she knew my now ex. "We're dating," she said. I stopped filling out the form, turned around, and asked, "Who are you exactly?" "Oh, you're my name." "You don't know who I am?" So long story short, he'd been maintaining an ongoing relationship with a woman almost 20 years older than me. The night before, she had put a restraining order on him, which he violated the next morning, hence the arrest and $50,000 bond.
I had been in a long-term, but long-distance relationship with a girl, and I truly adored her. We saw each other as often as we could, and always made the most of our time together. She traveled with her mom to visit her grandmother, and staying at her grandmother's house was her male cousin who she hadn't seen since they were children. Next time she came to visit me, she planned on taking a detour on her way home to stay with her grandmother and cousin for a few days. She spoke about her cousin a lot, and I was genuinely pleased that she had reconnected with him. She was shy and didn't make friends easily. It had been her birthday, and I bought her lots of nice gifts, including a camera which she'd wanted for a long time. I walked her to the train station and kissed her goodbye and wished her a lovely stay with her grandmother. A couple of days passed and I didn't hear anything from her, which was unusual. I called her mobile phone a few times and sent her text messages just asking if she was okay and got no reply. On the fourth day, I called her mom, who I got on with exceptionally well, to ask her if she'd heard from her daughter. She had and couldn't understand why she hadn't called me, so she gave me the home phone number of the grandmother. I called and her grandmother answered. I didn't give my name, but asked to speak with my girlfriend, who came straight to the phone, obviously unaware that I'd been given the number. When she heard my voice, she went very quiet. I eventually got her to admit that she had feelings for someone, but I naively explained that the only person she'd been spending time with was her cousin. Then the penny dropped and I realized it was him. She eventually admitted that she had been physical with him. Strange how when I walked her to her train that day and kissed her goodbye, as I had so many times before over our 4-year relationship, that it would be the last time I would ever see her. That was 20 years ago, and it still hurts.
When my mom was dying in the hospital, I needed someone to talk to. I texted my girlfriend and got a few one-word responses. About an hour before that, she sent me a selfie of herself saying she got her hair cut, wanting to know what I thought. It wasn't like her to send such short responses, especially after telling her that I just saw my mom throwing up blood in the hospital. The following weekend, I went to her house. We had planned on working on her yard together. I helped her plant a few things and fixed a few issues on the outside of her house. I spent most of the day doing yard work. The next day, we had planned to go bike riding a couple of towns over. I asked if she wanted to spend the night at my house. She said she had been working hard all week and just wanted to sleep in her own bed alone. I went home. At 4:30 that morning, my mom died. I went to the hospital. I saw her body for the last time. She said she got a call from her friend Tom saying that he wanted to have a beer. She went over to hang out with him and his kids. She said that was the first time she had been to his house in years. Someone spray painted "Stop fucking Tom" on the side of her car, slashed her tires. She wouldn't really talk about how my mom had just died. Things didn't add up. I copied the picture she sent the week before to my computer. Checked the metadata in the picture. Her phone tags her pictures with GPS coordinates. She was at Tom's house. She had been going there regularly over the past few weeks. Several of her selfies were of her in her car in his driveway. I ended the relationship. She was dumbfounded. All she cared about was fixing her car and the new issues she had. Didn't seem to talk about my mom dying. I ended up giving a eulogy to a bunch of empty chairs. No one bothered to show up to my mom's funeral. My mom was the last family member I had. My ex sent a text months after that asking me to meet her so she could apologize. I didn't respond. That was over 4 years ago now. I've given up dating completely since then. I have no desire to be with anyone anymore.